In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a simple investment plan step by step. Because once you understand investing, the next step is having a clear structure to follow. And this is where everything starts to come together for you. And the good news is, it doesn't need to be complicated. In fact, the simpler your plan is, the more likely you are to stick to it. And that's what we're after. Okay, so step one is be clear on your objective. Every investment plan starts with one simple question. What is this money for? What do you want this money to do for you? What's the purpose? Okay, this could be thinking about retirement, could be thinking about long-term wealth, or a specific goal. I'm saving up for a deposit to help me with my mortgage to buy my first place. What's the purpose for this money? Okay, because your objective, it shapes everything that follows. So get that sorted first. Step two would be define your time frame. So next, think about how long will this money be invested for, realistically. As we've mentioned before, investing is typically suited 5 years or more, because the longer your time frame, the more time you have to ride the ups and downs of the markets. Okay, and this is important because time is one of your biggest advantages when investing. So we need to put a timeline on it because that will really help. Okay, step three, decide your risk level. Okay, now consider what level of risk makes sense for you. This should reflect your comfort with the ups and downs of the markets, your ability to absorb losses, and it needs to reflect your overall objective of what the money's for. Okay, if you're unsure about risk, then go back to our video on risk because we break it down in a lot of detail. So if you're still unsure, then rewatch that video. Okay, and your risk level should align with your plan, not the other way around. It needs to go towards your goals. It needs to match your goal, not the other way around. Step four is choose your investment approach. So next, decide how your money will actually be invested. Okay, so for most people, this means using diversified funds. Okay, that's the most common approach. So you might choose a lower risk fund because that matches your objectives. You might choose a balanced fund, middle of the range. You might choose a higher risk fund. Okay, usually they're on a score of 1 to 10 or something similar. So 1 being extremely cautious and 10 being like high risk. Okay, so you normally have 1 to 10, everything in between. 5 is balanced, for example. Okay, so have a think about what feels right for your comfort levels and what your objectives are. So to make this more real, let's take just a couple of examples. So first example, someone in their mid-30s. Like for me, example, I'm in my mid-30s. So if I was investing for retirement, let's say I've got pension pots from previous employers or I'm contributing to a pension, realistically that's going to be invested for 20 to 30 years at least. Okay, so I might want to lean towards more risk within my pension. I want to take on more risk just to give it a chance to grow. I want to focus on growth. That's the idea here for a pension pot for someone in their mid-30s. Okay, you want to invest consistently over time. For example, know that if you're a PAYE employee and you're getting your income pension contributions are happening from your employer and yourself as well. Even if you're self-employed and you're doing personal contributions into your pension, let's get this consistently done over time and make sure you're doing that because that will grow nicely over time. Okay, so let's compare that to someone who, let's say, needs their access to their money in the next year. So they would likely take less risk, focus on stability, and avoid large market movements. Because the last thing you want to do is put your money in somewhere for 6 months and take out 10% less than what you put in. Yeah, that's going to feel pretty bad. So they both got the same principle, but they're just a completely different plan. One's short-term, one's long-term. There's different objectives at play here. Okay, so step 5. So decide how you'll invest. So how are you going to invest? This could be a lump sum. Maybe you've received some inheritance. Maybe you've just saved up money over time and you've got a lump sum there you're looking to invest. It may be regular monthly investing, which is probably the most common thing. It might be a combination of both. Okay, so just think about how you're going to invest. So regular investing it can help build consistency, reduce timing risk, because if you're putting in a little bit every month, it just reduces because if you're doing a lump sum, you're like, right, I want to try and time my investment because it's a lump sum, whereas regular investing, it's like, well, because I'm putting in X amount every month over 5 years, it doesn't really matter what the markets are doing because it's just going to be consistently invested over time. Step 6 is choose your structure, your wrapper. So we've spoken about wrappers before. in a previous video. So you'll need to decide where your investment will actually sit. Okay, this might be a stocks and shares ISA, this might be a pension, or it might be another type of investment account. Okay, whatever is appropriate and suitable for you. Okay, so just think about what wrapper you're going to use. So tax efficiency, so it's actually really, it is a really important part of investing, is thinking about being tax efficient. So in the UK, it's often a good idea to use tax efficient wrappers where possible. For example, a stocks and shares ISA allows your investments to grow free from income tax and capital gains tax, within the limit set by the government. So it's a really good idea to utilize these tax wrappers, which is what an ISA is. The same with a pension as well. If you invest outside of these wrappers, then you may be subject to tax on growth or income from your investments. Now, I don't know about you, but I prefer not to pay tax on growth if I can help it. Obviously, all within the law, but if there's a choice there, then I prefer to keep money. So it's not just about how your money grows. Okay, it's actually about how much of that growth you actually keep. Okay, and just being sensible from a tax perspective. Yeah, being tax smart. Step 7, review. So an investment plan isn't something you just completely forget about, but it also doesn't need constant attention. There's a balancing act to be done here. You might review, whether it still matches your goals, whether your risk level is still appropriate, and whether your structure still makes sense for you. Okay, as a financial advisor, we do an annual review with our clients. So we meet up at least once with our clients, if not more, just to review what the investments are doing, just to have a chat with the client, just to make sure that the objectives are still the same, that nothing has changed in their life. There haven't been any life events where actually the goalposts have changed, and therefore our approach needs to change. Okay, so at least once a year. So hopefully that helps you understand how many times you just need to assess it. Okay, just a quick reminder about rebalancing. I know we mentioned this on a previous video, but over time your plan can naturally drift. Okay, so for example, some investments may grow faster than others, and that can change your overall risk level, okay, from your investments. This is where rebalancing comes in, so it brings everything back in line with your plan, just to make sure your investments stay within your risk appetite and level that you set it at. One of the biggest drivers of success in investing is consistency. I've said in a previous video, just be boringly consistent. Yeah, it's not sexy, just be boringly consistent. Stick to your plan. Don't react emotionally. Try not to. I know it's difficult, but try not to. And think long term. Keep going back to your overall objective. If your overall objective is to invest for 10 years within your pension, and the markets drop the year after, well, don't worry, you've still got another 9 years. Stick to your plan. Don't emotionally react to what's going on. A simple way to think about this is a good plan followed consistently is far better than a perfect plan that you don't stick to. So a good plan followed consistently is far better than a perfect plan that you just don't stick to. A few things to watch out for. So overcomplicating your plan, keep it simple, nice and simple. Changing direction too often, so chopping and changing your mind. Taking the wrong level of risk, so that could be you're taking too much risk for your objective and your time frame. Okay, you might be taking too much risk. You may be taking too little risk. For example, if you've got money in a pension and you won't have access to it for another 20 years, and you're in a really cautious fund. Well, if that's the case, then you're putting a handbrake on any growth within your pension, and that's not going to end up in your best interest. Okay, so it's both sides of the coin. So avoiding those common mistakes alone, that will make a big difference over time. Trust me. A good investment plan should fit on one page, if possible. If you end up with 10 pages worth of a plan, then it's probably overcomplicated. Okay, and that's not what we want. If you want to take something practical from this, so your first task is build your plan. Okay, write down what you're investing for, your objective, your time frame, your risk level, and how you plan to invest. Write it down. Let's get a plan going. Okay, task 2 is a bit of a reality check. Then ask yourself, do I actually have a plan, or am I just kind of guessing? Okay, it's quite difficult that really, but just think to yourself, okay, is this something I'm actually going to stick to? Is this realistic, or am I just putting something down just for the sake of it? Okay, because you need clarity. It's really important. It makes a huge difference. If you'd like to, feel free to send me your objective. Feel free to send me your plan, what you're thinking about doing. I'm happy to help shape the plan and maybe give you a bit more clarity and talk through it. Just be a sounding board. I'm more than happy to do that. So look, if you take one thing away from this, so a simple plan gives you clarity, confidence, and direction. Okay, and that's what we're after. It removes the guesswork and it helps you stay on track. In the next video, we'll look at fees and costs associated with investing, so that you can understand what to watch out for and how they impact your investments over time.